Yo, what's happening, baby? This is the Flaming Sword Musing, and I'm Seeing Khan. You know, I'm starting to feel some kind of way. Well, I do feel some kind of way. And the reason why I feel some kind of way is because I'm starting to think that I've been tricked. You know, conned, hustled. You know what I'm saying? Hoodwinked, bamboozled. And it's just so obvious. I don't even understand how. But, you know, for some odd reason, I thought that this race war thing was going to jump off over the Confederate flag. You know, that some hillbillies was going to run up out the Appalachian Mountains and kick it off. But now I'm starting to suspect that this so-called race war is actually going to jump off over the 6-point star. You know, who has claim over it, or whose claim over it is valid, or whatnot. You know, they got at Nick Cannon when he said that blacks were the original Hebrews. And, you know, I expressed my discomfort with that before. And, you know, it ain't like he, you know, went the Professor Griff route and claimed that the Holocaust was a hoax. You know, he claimed to be part of the Hebrew legacy. You know, and they tore him a new one. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that they didn't like the fact that he said that blacks were the originals. But think about this, man. You know, if y'all have a issue with that, think about how we treat our originals. Think about how we treat our OGs. You know, all our OGs crackheads and shit, man. I watched the homies have one of the OGs fight a pit bull for some crack. You know? Like, of course he gonna fight the pit bull for some crack. He a OG. Feel me? I'm being a little bit facetious. I'm being satirical about it. You know what I mean? And then they got at Michael Jackson for the Jew me, kike me thing. I was confused about that too. You know, because again, he was identifying with the Jews. And they labeled it anti-Semitism. It's weird. So now we got Kanye saying the same thing. They trying to tell him a new one. And then we got this dude popping out making a rap, dissing Kanye West, and he's supposed to be a Hebrew Jew or something. I don't know what he's supposed to be. You know, I'm a roll with Zionists. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the crazy thing about it is that when I was watching this video, old boy looked like neo-Nazis. Him and his crew, they looked like neo-Nazis. If I would have saw them dudes coming, I would not have known that they were Jews. I would have swore up and down that they were like a skinhead crew. You know what I mean? And they want to make a rap dissing Kanye West, a hip-hop icon, regardless of what's going on with him right now. They think they could just come after a hip-hop icon. They ain't even speaking Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? They rapping English, coming after a hip-hop icon over a statement that he made. Okay, cool. And it's not surprising to me that these guys look like neo-Nazis, because, man, since we want to talk about it like the Jews are more comfortable with Jesus being depicted as a blue-eyed, blonde-haired white man, aka an Aryan, which goes back to my conversation about, you know, gang banging. You know, if you go to LA, gang banging is gang banging, man. It don't matter what side of the color spectrum they on. It could be Crip, Blood, Yellow, Purple. Gang banging culture is gang banging culture. You know? So it's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna apply the same thing to them. They came from the same place as the Nazis. Have the same history. You know what I mean? Grew up in the same environment. And devise the same outlook on life as everybody else there. I don't think that the Jews or the Zionists that migrated to Israel from, I don't think that they are not white supremacists. I think that they are white supremacists. They just didn't like the position that they had in Germany. So they went somewhere else where they can impose their interpretation of white supremacy on another indigenous people. So ultimately, the Zionists are actually of the same ilk as the Nazis. They're of the same ilk. They're just different sides of the coin. You know, and I would really like for people, really like for people to understand my particular take on it, because for some odd reason, I just didn't look at it like that. I always kind of weirdly view Jews as allies, you know, and now I'm starting to feel like a little fool. Like the writing has been on the wall for so long about this, you know, Jewish attack on, you know, us. You know, they constantly put us through the ringer for anti-Semitic marks. Now they're starting to be anti-homosexual remarks, but they're constantly running us through the ringer for anti-Semitism. Like a Caucasian, so to speak, has to say something particularly hateful to be cited for anti-Semitism, where a Nick Cannon can say something as mundane as black people are the original Hebrews and get castrated. You know what I mean? And me, myself, personally, I don't want to get into the discussion of whether or not blacks are the original Hebrews, because ultimately that terminology didn't exist back then. You know, the term black didn't exist back then. The term Negro didn't exist back then. The term Negroid didn't exist back then. The term Asiatic black man, none of these terms existed. The term white, octoroon, like all of the things that we are using to analyze what the Hebrews were back in the day just don't apply to the language that's being spoken right these days. So I really think that it'd be a delusion based upon an illusion for us to evaluate, you know, any of that. We got, you know, a lot of us, we got to do a lot more deeper digging to figure out exactly what's going on, because game is being ran thoroughly and completely, and you need to understand. It's just as simple as that. Understanding is the best thing in the world. I hope you guys have gotten something from this. I'm still working on it. Once again, this is Musing, and this is a Flaming Sword Musing. Be blessings and be blessed. One.